Well, hello, my friends, and welcome back to another episode of Legacy Farmer, the podcast. This is your host, J.C. Young, and today's topic of discussion is this: no structure will last for long when it rots from within. So I read this quote here just a couple days ago, and I wrote it down because it was just such a powerful kind of in-your-face quote for me. And guys, when we think about this, you think about the structure of your business, right? How many of you right now, you're looking at your structure and it's rotting from within, right? Some of you, this may be extremely apparent. You're like, yeah, it is. It's falling apart, and I know it's falling apart. For some of you, you maybe want to pretend like it's not, right? Now, let's talk about all the different ways that your structure can truly rot. First and foremost here is not knowing your numbers, right? If you do not have your numbers organized and structured in a way that you can use them to make detailed decisions on a day-to-day basis, guarantee your structure, your business is rotting. And as you grow and as you hit different levels in your farm operation or your business, your ag business overall, that foundation and that rod is going to start getting worse and worse and worse. And eventually things are going to crumble down, right? Another problem that we could actually face here, maybe it's not finances, maybe it's leading your team. Maybe it's having crucial conversations. Maybe it's having standard operating procedures for each one of the seats inside of your business. Majority of ag business owners, do they have that set up? No, they absolutely don't, right? Maybe another part of the problem that's causing the structure inside of your business to rot is things aren't going well at home. Marriage is falling apart. Relationship with kids are falling apart. Relationship with your parents or anybody on the family farm operation is falling apart because you are unwilling to address those problems. Now, guys, the longer we go with the unwillingness to address these challenges and these problems inside of our business, the weaker our structure is going to become, right? And the more it's going to rot out, and eventually one day it's all going to come crumbling down. Now, I was having a conversation with a customer here just before recording this podcast, and we were talking about how their financial position has changed, and ultimately too, how their relationship with their bank has changed as well, because they're much more on top of their numbers. They don't get near the questions anymore. Loan renewal this year was a breeze and everything. And that's really what we built the software inside of Legacy Farmer for. So it really helps our customers with that stuff, but also too, being able to organize numbers so that you can actually make critical decisions there instead of just kind of winging it or using the same old common saying of, let me check with my banker, right? So, but inside of that, we continue to talk about how big the problem is inside of the ag industry with how many families don't know their numbers, with how many families don't have a management system in place for the entire operation and leading their team, and how many families their culture sucks inside of their operation. Nobody wants to work there. How many families don't have their estate planning and stuff done, right? There's multiple areas that's in multiple problems that are causing the structure of these businesses to rot out. And eventually, if they don't do something about it, they're going to break, right? And so when you think about this and you think about all the different areas that could rot out the structure of your business, my question for you listening to this podcast right now is, how many of those areas are impacting you right now? How many of those areas are causing problems in your life? And you're just pretending, you're going on about your day-to-day business, pretending that one day they're going to get taken care of, when the reality is a decade's going to pass by, 2 decades are going to pass by, and nothing's going to get done. That is most common when it comes to estate planning, for example. And you've probably watched your parents do this for the past 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years for some of you. And you're constantly sold this promise that, yeah, we'll get things done one day, things will be set up. Guys, that's just, again, that's the structure of your business slowly and steadily rotting out over time. And eventually one day things are going to crumble. But anyways, back to the conversation with this customer. We were talking about how big this problem is in the industry and how many families, just talking about numbers, for example, do not have their numbers organized inside their operation, right? They don't use that. They wing it. Everything's written on a freaking piece of paper in the truck or Post-it notes, and you walk into their office and they're just papers everywhere. And some of you are probably laughing right now because you're like, yeah, Jace, that's literally my life. I get it. But the longer, again, we let that stuff go on, man, the worse it's going to become, and the more painful it's going to be when we have to face reality and we have to start rebuilding the structure inside of the business, right? But you're not the only one facing that problem. Again, a majority of family farm operations and ag business owners in this country are facing that problem. But guys, here's the other deal with this too, and this came up on the conversation with this customer. I truly believe that we have just as big of a problem inside of these ag banks. And it comes in two different forms. One, their loan management practices, and really not necessarily loan management, but risk management practices. But then two, their training program for new loan officers coming into the bank. I cannot tell you how many customers I have that are so frustrated with their ag loan officer because it's somebody new or somebody that's only been in a couple of years. They don't have an ag background. They don't have a finance background. They just don't understand the game. They don't understand how things are working. And when it comes to ag banking, it's not like consumer loans. right? There's no black and white. When you're going in and getting a mortgage, you got to hit certain metrics or certain KPIs, sent out by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac in order for you to get approved. Consumer loans, right? Going and buying a new car, they're checking your credit score. You got a high enough credit score? Okay, good. You're good to go. Here's a car, have fun, whatever. With ag loans, guys, there's so much gray area. You have to understand how the business runs and why the business owners may be making this decision versus that decision. You have to understand how the game is played. And most ag loan officers do not come into the bank with that understanding. And what's even worse is most of these ag banks do not have training systems and programs in place to get their ag loan officers caught up to speed. And this is a massive, massive problem because there is such a huge disconnect between the farmer and the banker. Now, that's kind of where the opportunity comes in for Legacy Farmer, and what we've built with our software and with our training program is we really have an opportunity to be that bridge there. But again, though, it's a massive problem. And it's something, again, even with these ag banks, it's weakening their structure. It's rotting out the structure inside of those banks because, one, they have piss poor risk management practices. They're not paying attention to the amount of loans that they're giving out, nor are they making sure that their customers have their numbers updated so that they actually know what the risk they're taking. But the other side of that, too, is they're not training their customers on what the bank is even looking at in the first place, right? So many of you, you're getting all these questions from your banker about why are you doing this or why are you doing that? Can you give me this number? Can you give me that number? And then you feel like you're just constantly giving and giving and giving and then having to wait. My view of what banking should be and my view of when I was in the bank was we need to train our customers as to why we're asking for this information. So they understand what we look at, how we're making decisions and everything. And for some reason, that whole idea there is completely lost when it comes to ag banking. And that's been beneficial to Legacy Farmer because that's what we built a lot of our product around and educating people so we can fill that gap there among a lot of other things just because our product has really transformed and evolved over the past few years. But again, guys, there's just a massive problem in multiple areas of this industry and the structure is rotting out everywhere. So at the end of the day, it's so easy to talk about all the problems and all the problems and all the problems. Here's the question. What are you going to do about it? Like if your structure is rotting out right now, and I said one area, whether that's finances, maybe it's accounting and tax planning, maybe it's team management and leadership, maybe it's company culture, maybe it's having crucial conversations or whatever, estate planning, whatever. When are you going to do something about it? When are you going to finally get tired of putting up with this, hey, we'll get to it type of crap and go do something about it? Right, guys, when you think about this, again, it goes back to that quote I said at the beginning. There's no structure that's going to be solid long-term if it's rotting from within. It's just period. And it may not break today. It may not break tomorrow. It may not break 5 years from now or 10 years from now. But the thing is it is going to break one day, and I guarantee you that'll be the day that you do not want it to break the most. Because what if it's the day that you pass away and you're handing the operation on to your kids, and you're handing nothing but an absolute shit show, riddled with debt, with no structure, no business game plan, nothing in place for them, right? That's the thing that it fears me the most or worries me the most out of the problem that we're trying to solve in this industry, because so many family farms today, if they passed on their operation to their kids today, guarantee it fails. It's a guarantee. The kids will not know how to manage this level of debt. They will have no idea how to put a business game plan together. They won't know what to do. And this is just a huge issue that nobody really likes to talk about in this industry. Well, in Legacy Farmer, that's what we talk about. And because we're trying to have the impact that we can in this industry and talk about things that most people are not willing to talk about so that we get stuff done. So we take action and we get stuff done, because if you don't, it's only going to be worse for the people coming down the line, which are probably going to be your kids or your grandkids, if you are unwilling to do what you need to do today to fix your foundation and start rebuilding this thing so you can pass on something that's going to be sustainable for the long term. And really just something that your kids can't wait to take over, and they're excited about it, and they want to be back and be a part of the family farm because of the type of business you've left for them. So at the end of the day, my friend, answer the question. Is your structure breaking right now? Is it rotting out from within because you are unwilling to fix it? Now that you've exposed it and you know that's a problem, what are you willing to do about it? So my friends, that concludes today's episode. Hope you found it valuable, and we will catch you on the next one.
What's up, everyone? My name is Jace Young. I'm the founder of a company called Legacy Farmer, and inside of that company, what we do is we've helped over 300 family farms simplify and streamline the entire financial side of their operation and help them learn their numbers at a deep, deep level so that they can implement the systems and the processes to make sure that their operation lives on for generations into the future.